Hello everyone, welcome to the Ginger Snaps here. I'll be discussing horror movies with you guys in a very blunt way. I'm your host, Steven Harrold, and in today's video I'm actually joined by my brother Justin. And today we're actually going to be taking a video review, or movie reviews, of 9 in particular films of a certain franchise. And if you guys don't notice the things in the middle there, you'll notice that we're going to be talking about the Saw franchise. Of course, Saw came out in 2004, and of course we've seen 9 films, and now with the 10th one being released on September 29th, we're going to gear up to do all 9 reviews leading up to Saw X. So, why are you in this video though?
The reason I'm in this video is I'm actually one of the few who I'm normally not a horror fanatic. The only exceptions would be The Thing, the Alien franchise, and Saw.
Yeah, Justin was basically the biggest Saw guy. So you guys obviously know that Chris was on this channel before when we were talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. Eventually, when we get to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reviews, he's going to be the one that's in it. But when it comes to Saw, there was no one else I could actually talk to this about these films better than you, because you're much more of a fan than I am.
Yeah.
And our differences will sway in different aspects when we get further on. So obviously, as you guys know, we're going to be doing 10 movie reviews when it comes to the Saw franchise, but we have to start from the beginning. So for this video, we're going to be discussing both of our reviews for Saw.
Released in 2004, directed by James. 2 individuals who awaken inside a bathroom. Filthy bathroom, by the way. We learn one is named Adam, and then the other one is named Dr. Gordon. As they awaken in the bathroom, they realize that they are part of a sadistic game by a killer who is nicknamed Jigsaw. They then realize that they have to play and compete to live in this perverted game.
Yeah, when it comes to the story of this movie, it was something we've never seen before, where it was just like this was a kind of like the hype of after this movie, Hostel ended up coming out, right?
This was, at the time, this was basically the definition of torture porn.
Yeah, this is the movie that pretty much started torture porn. And it was simple because of the fact that it was basically 2 guys in a bathroom, and they're chained up, and they have this tape recorder. There's a dead body in the middle of the fucking room, and who's holding a gun and a tape recorder, and they both have cassettes in their pockets. And when they finally get the tape recorder, basically they are told different tasks of how to basically survive Jigsaw's game.
Yeah.
And they start to learn things from one another, and as an audience, like, we get to see how Jigsaw is, especially like when it gets to that scene where they get the saws, and the doctor realizes, oh, he doesn't want us to cut through our chains, he wants us to cut through our feet. And then that's when he finally realizes this is Jigsaw. And at the time, you've seen all the horror movies where it's always a killer killing people. We've never seen one where it's a sadistic killer who finds ways for their victims to kill themselves. And that, to me, like, that was the most unique part of the story, and that's what got us hooked when we first watched it. And as for you, what did you think of the story?
I loved it. So the story was what got me hooked. At the time, it was simplistic and everything. It wasn't difficult to follow. The twist at the end was, to me, what solidified me as a fan.
Yeah, we'll talk about that twist, because I mean, like, the movie is almost 20 years old. So you know, can't really say spoilers. If you haven't seen it, it's been 20 years. So yeah, that's on you. But for you, when it comes to this story, it obviously makes you hooked.
100%.
So what do you think about the character of Adam?
I thought Adam was pretty decent. I mean, he was a just, regular photographer who lives in a sleazy, disgusting apartment.
Yeah.
We also realize that he's kind of a sleazebag piece of crap. As in terms of the character himself, Adam's pretty generic. I wouldn't go crazy and say, oh my god, I love him, but
He's like not top tier
No.
characters of the Saw franchise.
But you have no reason to hate him either.
Yeah, you don't have really much of a reason to hate him. And I mean, like it's Lee Winnell's. I know I'm butchering that last name. It was his first movie role and his first acting role, and it's kind of stale. Like we noticed in his acting, it was like, but he got better after. Like especially with Insidious, he got a lot better. For my take on his character, it's basically like, yeah, he's an all right character. Like you kind of care for him right at the end when even though the truth kind of comes out, and then it's just like, okay, so he's a scumbag, but you also don't kind of want him to die. You don't want him to suffer.
No, exactly. I mean, think about it. If you're in a situation like that, when you awaken in a bathroom with another human being, like
chained up nonetheless.
Yeah, your mind's gonna go all over the place. Why am I here? What did I do wrong? Mm-hmm. I mean, do I think he was rational and justified with what he did in the film? I mean, I'm not gonna have any arguments with it. That's just my opinion, though. Everyone else has their own opinions. I will say this though, like his acting wasn't the greatest, but positive, he wasn't the worst.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't the worst character.
What did you think about Dr. Gordon?
See, Dr. Gordon was like because Dr. Gordon's played by Gary Elves, who's an established actor. He was in The Princess Bride. He's been in so many other famous works, especially like Robin Hood. And to have him as basically like, he didn't really get top billing too. And he was just, hired just to do a job. And for him to be the doctor who, I guess, is kind of having an affair. Like, this is the one thing that we noticed is that, was he having an affair or was he about to have an affair?
Yeah.
And he's trying to keep his shit together while realizing that Jigsaw has his family captured. And he's trying to figure shit out, but also at the same time, he's trying to withhold a lot of information from Adam because he just doesn't know him. He doesn't trust him that well. And then when the truth starts to finally come out, he kind of reserves himself because he can't trust this guy because, spoiler alert, Adam basically was a photographer who's taking mugshots of fucking Dr. Gordon, having an affair. So when he finally finds that out, it's basically like, oh, I don't fucking trust you. You've been invading my privacy. As for his character, like, you really do get the sense of like, he's trying to take charge. He's trying to take control, but then he's just going to crack at one point. And then when he finally does crack, it's like, oh shit. Yeah, he's not.
He goes over the edge.
He goes way over the edge. And I do like Dr. Gordon. And I mean, like,
he's a convincing character.
Yeah, he's convincing. You do root for him to live, especially like at the end when, the scene happens. And it's just like, is he gonna die from blood loss? Until, later on in the sequels. But other than that, like, I had no problem with Dr. Gordon at all. What about you?
No, not at all. Like, he aside from one other character, which we will go into later, he is one of the standouts of this film by far.
He's top. He makes top tier. Like, he does. As a character, he does make it top tier.
Oh yeah.
Especially being played by an established actor.
Yeah. Detective Tapp.
Played by Danny Glover.
Yeah. So my take is, I like Danny Glover as an actor. I think he is tremendous. In this film, he's probably the most badass since Predator 2. I could actually say that.
Okay, yeah.
Problem though, there's a couple scenes where I just roll my eyes over his rational way of thinking and his decision makings. It just makes me look at him and be like, you're fucking stupid. Like, yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, throughout the whole movie, he's really convinced Dr. Gordon is behind all the Jigsaw murders. And even when his partner dies.
Well, even that scene alone, I got pissed watching that part. Because it's like, I agree with whoever that other actor was with him.
Yeah.
They had him.
Yeah, they had him.
Why the fuck would you,
Yeah, like this movie, yeah, it's a horror movie, so there has to be the dumb trope. So it's basically like, why don't you just fucking shoot him now? Like, fuck's sakes, Detective Tapp, and then like even when he gets to the Gordon house, and he's about to save the family, like you even said it when we were watching the movie, like when they're in the tunnel and everything. It's like you have a loaded gun.
Yeah.
Why didn't he shoot his fucking leg?
That's what I said.
Like,
I'm like watching the film as it's happening, and I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, okay, if I was in that scenario, I would just shoot him in the leg. He's gonna fall, and then I can just arrest him right there. Done. This is a single movie now.
But it's a horror movie, so you know you can't have those kind of things. For me, when it comes to Danny Glover, like his performance, okay, like he kind of stressed me out because it was basically like.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's kind of neutral, I guess, in a way. Like, it's neutral. Like it makes sense why he's so obsessed with this fucking case. Like, how many cop movies there are cops that are obsessed with a fucking case, but he is just like too obsessed. Like, I mean, like the fact that they finally have a lead as to whereabouts Jigsaw's lair is. They don't have a warrant. Okay.
Oh, they throw that out the window.
Yeah, they throw that out the window, and they don't even have backup.
Yeah.
It's just him and his buddy. Just go. Like, you don't think to call fucking backup? This guy has made how many fucking sadistic kills with the traps, and it's like you don't think he has his place rigged at all.
My only defense with that idea, though, is I go under the impression that they weren't heavily experienced, despite him being a detective and everything. Based on how his rational thinking was and everything, I don't think they were super experienced. Because you can't tell me they knew going in. It's like, this guy's gonna have traps everywhere, but fuck it, we can just do it 2-man.
Yeah, okay. With that point, yeah, it makes sense. But still, like when it comes to the ending of his character's arc, it's basically like he made some really dumb decisions.
Oh, I agree.
Like,
I agree.
Love the guy, but dumb fucking decisions. Okay, so when it gets to this one side character who we kind of follow throughout the series, Amanda, who we get to see in probably the most famous trap in this whole entire franchise, the reverse bear trap.
Yeah.
And she's a drug addict, and she was a part of a trap, and she survived the trap, and she was played beautifully by fucking Shawnee Smith. I mean, we got her fucking autograph right here. And she, with her performance in this movie, because at the time she had only done like the Blob remake, she was in a bunch of shows after that, a few movies here and there, and then this movie kind of was like her way back into horror. And
this was a very minor role, though.
Yeah, it was minor, but she didn't expect to blow up like a brilliant fucking character.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this movie review, we can't really say much about her fucking character. But in the next one, we can.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, she's in there, too. When it comes to her character, it's just like, yeah, she essentially was just a victim.
And a survivor.
And a survivor at the same time. And we get to see her scene with the Billy puppet. So, and to think that someone actually survived a trap. And her emotions in this movie are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, top-notch quality.
Yeah.
Because it's believable.
Yeah, you believe that she was just about to fucking die. Like, she doesn't just cry out in agony. She's dry heaves, like, trying to catch her breath.
Yeah. And she's, like, screaming after, like, during the dry heaves and all that.
Yeah, so, like, her character, you know, in this movie, it's minor, but we'll move on to the next one. Okay, since you're the fan, you gotta talk to me about Jigsaw.
My personal favorite, Tobin Bell. Plays John Kramer, a.k.a. Jigsaw. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this film, and that's your own fault, because this was out in 2004.
Yeah, it's 2023.
He is the one laying in the middle of the bathroom.
Yeah!
The entire time. And you don't see it until he gets up. And when I saw that for the first time in theaters, or not even in theaters, sorry.
No, okay, so the backstory for us getting exposed was both of us, we saw the trailer for Saw, and we thought it was stupid.
Agreed.
Like, we thought that was a dumb movie. That looks dumb.
It wasn't a good trailer.
So mom ended up renting it, and then we were watching the movie, and we were like,
It was interesting.
okay, this is interesting. As soon as he fucking got up from the dead body stands up,
Yeah.
we were like, what the fuck happened here?
Oh, it was great.
And so, of course, going back to Tobin Bell, like, what do you like about this character that was like, because he obviously knows I'm a big Michael Myers fan. What's different about Jigsaw?
It was unpredictable. For one, his age.
Yeah, an older man.
Would you expect a guy who's basically
pushing 60?
Yeah, like looking like a senior citizen.
Yeah.
To be the killer, and the way in which he was even killing too. Let me tell you, for someone who doesn't believe in killing, he almost did.
Yeah.
When
he slices Detective Tapp's throat, it was like, oh fuck, I thought he was gonna die.
He was close there. That's probably his closest kill.
Closest kill. I mean, depends on Saw X because of what we've seen in the trailer.
We'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. But like, especially in
trademark Brett,
trademark pending Brett Hall. Basically, like for you, especially like because the other reason why you were so hooked on the character was because of basically even just his backstory. But we don't get much of his backstory until the sequel.
You don't get the full backstory yet. He's still a big giant question mark.
You just know that this is a guy who just puts a lot of people in traps for some reason.
That's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
Like, you knew nothing about this guy aside from what you heard from like the audio tapes and everything. And I loved it.
And how the news would say like he finds ways for his victims to kill themselves, which was like a genius fucking idea. Like, okay, well, all right, so suicide, all right. But like, so for me, when it comes to John Kramer, do I kind of list him as one of the top villains in horror movies? It's debatable because it's basically like, well, is he technically a villain? He goes after people who don't value their life.
He is a villain. He isn't.
Yeah, I get it. He's a villain, but when you really
he's an
antagonist. Yeah, I know he's the antagonist, but like when it comes down to like the whole aspect of why he's doing it, you sympathize with him because it makes sense. Like, yeah, people just don't appreciate life.
Okay, but would you call him an anti-hero? No.
No, you wouldn't call him an anti-hero. You obviously wouldn't.
And you wouldn't call him an anti-villain because he's not really doing good things.
No, he's basically teaching people a lesson.
So
value your fucking life.
He's still a villain.
Yeah, he's still a villain, but like the fact that he has not killed anybody, a villain that never killed anyone, purposely.
Still a villain.
I mean, yeah, okay.
How many?
He's not like Michael fucking Myers.
Think about it though. How many movies out there can you be a villain without having to kill? Several.
Yeah, there's several movies where you could do that. Yeah, but he's probably top tier on that list.
Yeah.
But would I rank him as one of the best in the horror genre? I don't know. He's got some competition.
He's iconic. I'll say that. His character might not be the most iconic, but the puppet is.
Yeah, see, the puppet is the big driving force of the whole movies. Like, I mean, like every fucking movie that came out, that puppet had to be in there. Minus one of them, which we'll fucking get to, because I know he's got something to say, and I got something to say about that fucking movie.
It's funny. Before we continue, I'm glad you're bringing this up, because there's actually two movies where we have a huge disagreement on. And I can't wait to get there when we do.
Yeah, we got two movies.
Because those videos are going to be toxic. Let me tell you.
Oh, very toxic. It's going to be like a very heated debate. Like, so when it comes to movies, of course, on this channel, you guys are sure you know when it goes to the categories of doing these movie reviews, especially horror movies, you know that we talk about the kills. But this one is different because we got basically talk about the traps.
Because they're the most signature thing about the entire franchise.
Yeah, the signatures of this franchise are the puppet, the score, which, just small little review. We all love the theme.
Yes.
Yeah, the theme, kick-ass. The traps and the twists. Those are the signatures, the three signatures of this franchise. So when it comes to this movie, of course, this is like the movie where basically the traps are minimal,
But
but
effective.
effective
But
as
effective.
fuck. Like, what would you say is the least effective in this movie,
Trap wise?
trap wise? It's hard.
If I went on a
We also got to count the guy that was strapped up when Detective Tapp found him.
well, here's the thing. I would say that originally, but the problem with that is he even when Jigsaw realizes he's awake, he was like, "Don't worry, you're gonna be part of something special." So in other words, it wasn't originally gonna start like that. He was gonna be part of a different game.
Oh.
So he was just currently in that
predicament.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you count that as probably the weakest?
100%. 100%.
Okay. So this is going to be a little hot topic. Because we don't know what bigger game he had. Even though, like, he's like, okay, well, fuck it. I'm going to step on the button, and now he's got these 2 drill bits going to his neck. My least effective trap is literally the bathroom. They're just chained in there.
Yeah, but I'd rather.
Hot take, sorry.
Nah. The reason why I still say that one as a death, that would kind of be lame. The reason
you get drilled through the neck twice.
To me, it would be meh. The reason why I prefer the bathroom one, being left for dead in a fucking decomposing, disgusting bathroom in the dark, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah. No thanks.
I mean, we already know what's the best trap in this movie. I mean,
yes,
there's a fucking picture right there.
Well, what did you think? Okay, well, I'll give you one, and then you give me the other.
Okay.
What did you think about the trap with the razor wire?
Oh, okay. Well, the fact that he was given 2 hours to claw through this maze of like razor wire. He's a bigger guy.
Yeah, he's not slim.
No, he's not slim. Like if because there's also this other thing too of like how do you survive certain traps? How do you survive that trap when you know for a fact that whole like kennel looking maze is just full of razor wire? You're gonna get sliced no matter what.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, you could go as slow as possible and you feel like, oh, maybe 10 minutes just went by, but you look at, well, 30 fucking minutes went by, and now you're fucking racing against the time to get the fuck out. But also at the same time, you don't know where to go. Like, where's the exit?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know. That trap was basically like, I wouldn't consider it top tier, but it's still an effective trap.
It's a hard one to predict because even when they review it, like when the detectives and all that look at it, there is no clear indication where it's like that's the exit. He was so close. They don't really show you.
Yeah, they don't show any clear indication of that.
Like we don't know if he was halfway, barely through, or like he was so close.
And what did you think about the other trap with the safe in the middle, where he was
fucked. He was completely fucked.
Just put it bluntly, yeah, he was fucked. I mean,
I thought he had no way in hell because I thought that was an effective trap, first of all, but there was way too many handicaps.
Yeah, you're stepping on broken glass. You're smeared with this flammable substance. You have just one fucking candle. And on top of that, the combination to the safe that has the antidote for what is poisoning you is written on the wall, but the wall is just covered in numbers.
Yeah, and you don't know which one it is.
Yeah, you don't fucking know which one. So, yeah, it's an effective fucking trap, and it would suck to be in that trap.
You have to sneeze, you're screwed. You're dead.
Basically, yeah. Final thoughts of this movie for me is basically like, ever since this first one came out, it has always stuck with me as like, it's still one of the best fucking twist endings ever. Mm-hmm. It's still a classic, even being almost 20 years old. And on top of that, with its story and its characters and the traps themselves, like the traps, they're like throughout the series, the traps become more elaborate, but simple and unique. The only gripe I have, I think, is the same gripe you're gonna say, is the fast-moving cameras where everyone's just shaking.
I have two gripes actually, but I agree with you there.
Okay.
So for me, this was a simple but effective film. Do I think it still holds up to this day? Yes. Having said that, the acting is one of the weakest parts of this film.
Okay.
With the few exceptions being Dr. Gordon and Jigsaw.
Yeah.
And then I guess you could say Danny Glover.
Yeah, Amanda.
She was minor though, so
minor character, but fucking
very effective. But we didn't know at the time that she was gonna be.
Yeah, we didn't know
a bigger purpose.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
So like for me, it's funny because you ask every other fan of Saw, and they will say this is the best one. For me, I'm actually in the minority there. To me, this is my second favorite Saw. Until the 10th one comes out, if I was going based on out of the 9 Saw movies, where would I put this? This is second best. This is my number 2.
And see, for me, for years, this is my number 1 favorite, because it's like, well, it's the original, it's the classic. But if y'all remember me when it came to the Halloween franchise review, I ended up saying Halloween 2018 was my favorite one, not 78, not like the norm.
I'll stop you there. So before you reveal, I gotta ask, because we did just recently, we watched it, and there's a couple of things that you pointed out and I pointed out, and we didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Because of the MacGuffins that we noticed, does it change your opinion of where you'd rank it? Because there's
not really, because it's like they were starting, like, you know, like who was gonna know at that time? Like, who was gonna know? Like, especially 2004. Like, this movie still had a VHS tape.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, one of the scenes we were saying is that when you're watching the movie in high definition, it's like you literally can see the pig costume in the closet when it's pitch dark. It's like, yeah, you can see it.
Yeah,
it's right there. And you pointed out the Billy doll that turned into a different doll.
There wasn't just that. There is also, during the interrogation, it's like,
oh yeah,
oh, there's Amanda waiting for her cue, and then you pointed out, which you couldn't stop laughing about.
Oh,
the gun.
Yeah, when the mom has the gun, there's a scene where it's over her shoulder, and she has it in her left, or she's holding it with 2 hands, and then when it faces her, it's her left hand, then back, the left hand, back, and at one point, it switches hands completely, and I'm like, holy fuck, how did this fucking happen? But yeah, it doesn't change my ranking on it, though. Okay. It doesn't change it.
So where would you put it?
For me, like, because like, rewatching this whole franchise is going to be interesting. Like, to me, this is still number 1.
Number 1. Okay.
Number 1, obviously. So when it comes to my rating of this movie, I'm going to give this movie, like, back in 2004, I would have gave it a 10 out of 10. Like, straight up, 10 out of 10. But because of, like, you know, for the nostalgia of it and how the movie is and how it's progressed and whatnot, I would actually safely say that, you know, for my rating, I'm going to give Saw an 8 out of 10.
See, it's interesting because as someone who loves this franchise, slight spoiler, I don't think any of the movies I've seen get a 10 or a 9.
Okay.
So that's fair. I will say, so like, of all these movies, the highest ranking I will give it is an 8.
Or an 8.5?
Not even that. I would say an 8.
A solid 8?
I don't do the whole 0.5s.
Okay.
Very rarely.
So what would you give Saw then?
This one would be a solid 7.
Okay, so a solid 7. So for me, it's an 8 out of 10. And for Justin, it's a 7 out of 10. So that has been our review for the first Saw film in this franchise. Of course, we're gearing up for Saw X, and we're going to be sitting down watching all the Saw movies. And like he already said, there are 2 movies in this franchise that we're going to have heated fucking debates on. Because
Take a bet. What ones do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, take a bet. We only just did the first movie, and we both enjoy it. But when we get to those later fucking movies, oh god. But other than that, you know, it's gonna be quite a journey because I mean, like I had last year I'd done 13 Halloween films. It's like I got 10 fucking Saw films, but it's gonna be refreshing because I haven't seen all of these in a while. But you have.
Yeah. So they are all still very.
It's fresh for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for me, guys. So if you like this video, make sure you also give it the thumbs up and subscribe for more content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can get notified about all the other Saw related videos coming out on the channel. And of course, you can follow me on all my other social media platforms. And of course, Justin will be joining me for the remainder of all these Saw movies, and especially when it comes to Saw X, we're doing our spoiler-free review, and then a spoiler review. And then we're going to do an 11th video, which is ranking the Saw franchise from worst to best. And this is where it's going to be fucking different, because we both know where we would put certain. Well, you know where you put yours. Me, it's like I have to dabble on where I would put it.
Yeah.
So that's it for us, guys. So like I said, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Other than that, this has been the Ginger Snaps here. I'm Steven Harrold.
And I'm Justin Harrold.
And we will talk to you guys later. And remember, live or die, make your choice.